Hey, what's up, guys? So, just kind of getting some stuff put around here and fixing the mic and all sorts of shit. So, yeah, hopefully that doesn't get it demonetized with the music, but I think YouTube can be a little forgiving on some stuff like that. Anyway, let me just fix the mic real quick. Can you hear me now? I'm assuming because you heard the music that you could hear me. Just confirm that it sounds all right. It's not too loud. So I'm actually going to be running two screens today. One where I can actually see the live chat coming through, and I can figure out who's a member and who's asking questions. And then I have my live stream program, which you guys see all the background shit here. So all that stuff will be I'll be able to highlight. Let me see here. I'd be able to highlight your guys' comments, and also figure out who the hell is a member. And just a heads up, while we're waiting for people to get in. So if you are a member of the join YouTube tab here, something I added to the site at the beginning of the year, you can go ahead and not only get your questions answered every day through the membership tab or the community tab, but you can also get your questions answered first here. I take those will take priority. So now that I've kind of figured it out, I was trying another app last week just to see if I could figure out another way of using it to bring up. It just was a pain in the butt. I did a test for like 20 minutes. It looked cool, but it just didn't offer simple features such as just highlighting comments, and that's something that really makes it easy to keep track. So anyway, okay. Anyways, so let's go ahead and get started. I guess while we're waiting for people to come in, I know that there is some games going on Sundays. I was told by a few people that it definitely could impact how many people show up to the live stream. Then, of course, I think the Super Bowl is next week. I don't know. I don't follow that shit. So I might not go live next Sunday. Depends. I'll kind of do a poll on the channel throughout the week and see if you guys are interested in actually coming. But yeah, I know that there's games on Sundays, so it's a little iffy. But this just seems to be a good time that works well for me. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started and get in here in the comment section. Okay, so our first one here. I'm currently cycling my tank and it is going on for the 4th week. I tested in the water and the Red Sea said that I have 0 nitrite and that the Hanna Ultra says that I have 46.06 ppm. What are your thoughts on that? 46 of what? Are you talking about nitrates? Is that what you're talking about? You didn't put enough information in there. So if you're in your 4th week of cycling, I'm assuming that the tank is not even cycled yet. Depending on how you started, if you use Live Rock or not. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the live chat. So if you're 4th week in, there's a good chance that it's not even cycled. To be honest, I don't really test any of the water parameters, at least until the 5th or 6th week. I don't even bother. It's just not worth it. Like, I just set up the 30-gallon tank behind me. I took 30 gallons, or the quarantine tank for the coral. So I took 30 gallons out of my last water change I did, I think 3 days ago. And then I added some dry rock that I picked up from Bulk Reef Supply and added the carbon, put the skimmer on, and then I'm not even going to look at it. No lights, no nothing, not even for at least the next month or so. And then I'll check it out and see. But I'm going to look and see if you could put the information here. You said nitrite. Okay, so this is the other part. I won't even worry about it, man. I wouldn't even look at it. It just doesn't seem. I mean, Red Sea and Hanna are two different tests. So of course Hanna's going to give you that ultra low reading or ultra reading. Yeah, I guess even lower, but it'll give you more accurate reading. But that just doesn't seem right. So I honestly won't even look at it. And yeah, I hope that. I mean, I know that probably doesn't answer your question, but I think you're too early to be even caring about water parameters at this point, being only 4 weeks in. Next question, Travis, do you have a PAR meter for Rhett? I do not. I use the Sinai Reef. I know you can buy it for, I think it's, I don't know. I want to say it's like $150. I'm not really sure what it is anymore. But if you want to rent one, you can go to Bulk Reef Supply and you can rent it. I think it's like $50, and then you have to put a certain amount on hold, like a couple hundred, a few hundred. I never did it. That's just what I was told. So if you're not going to buy the Sinai Reef, you can get the higher end PAR meter from BRS. Yeah, Super Bowl is doesn't stay till 8:30, so you're good. Okay. Yeah, so we might do I'll do a poll on the on the channel throughout the week and see if we're going to do the live stream next week. And I don't see why we wouldn't. I just want to make sure if people have other things to do, I'm not just going to interrupt everything by trying to do a Q&A. All right, let's see what we got here. Okay, next question. What's up, Travis? Upgrading tank soon with Pukani being a thing of the past. What rock would you use in the future tanks? It's going to have to be the BRS or the dry rock. Again, I get it from Bulk Resupply. I'm like shouting their asses out a lot today. Motherfuckers not even paying me. No, I'm just playing. No, I do a lot of business through BRS. I get a lot of my wholesale stuff through them. I really enjoy their shipping's good and they're quick on response and their emails are good. So I like sending my business. Same with Marine Depot. I do the same thing. Just depends on, it's between the two sites, depending on who has what in stock at the time. Just like I got my WXM from Marine Depot the other day because they didn't have it at BRS. So, but anyway, yeah, that's what I'm kind of bummed about with the new tank when we do that here in a couple of years is that there's no more Pukani. And to be honest, I never looked up why there wasn't any Pukani. I didn't really look into the reason why it wasn't a thing anymore. But yeah, so the BRS, the dry rock, that's what I'm going to do. Of course, it needs to be cured ahead of time. Same process as the Pukani is still going to be multiple months worth of curing before adding it to the tank, even though it doesn't have as much biomedia to break down or detritus to break down. But it's still a good idea to cure it for that long. So yeah, hopefully something else comes out. And also, I'm not a fan of the man-made rock. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't find that it's porous enough. And that's one of the really good things about Pukani is you get a ton of rock. It's really porous. It's just great for beneficial bacteria. Hence the reason why I don't have much of it in the 300 because I don't need a lot. It just processes waste really well. So yeah, we'll have to address that when that time comes. Let me scroll up here. Okay, yeah, I should address this then. I was looking at your site and after watching you the last few videos, looking to buy some frags, but the site seems low inventory. Yeah, I upload new corals pretty much every other day, but I mean sales are just every single day, so there's not really much that I can do about that. I don't really have an excuse other than the fact that I've been adding corals every day, and I can't keep up. And I'm not really sure what I'm going to do. I know the grow out system is now finished. If you guys are following me on Instagram, you can see that I just added all the radions. And you guys will have a video on that later in the week. But hopefully that will kick off. We'll get more corals healing and growing, and we can go ahead and get some more on the site. Sorry about that. Okay, how do I get my wife on board for getting a large tank? I'm thinking going to get it and set it up route. Now it's there. Good luck moving with it. Yeah. Okay, so how do you get your wife on board? Jesus, I don't know. I can tell you what I think, but no, I mean, the reality is you know, if it's beneficial in a way, and one good thing you can do is make it so it brings income to the house. If you can find a way to make money from it, it's going to make it a lot easier to justify getting a bigger tank. That's the reason why I'm getting a bigger system. Is it just, I'm looking to see what that message was rejected, but yeah, if you can find a way to make money with it, it's a lot easier to justify the bigger system. So keep that in mind. Let's see what's up here. Is there any way you can do the video on how to install and use a calcium reactor properly? I'm currently dosing a pump in it, but everyone tells me calcium reactor is better. Yes, I will make that video. I will try to make that video this week for you guys. It's just been on delay because I wanted to give an update. I wanted to do the Geosreef reactor install, I want to say calibration, but the whole process with the pH probe I just added a different pump a little while back, and I want to kind of get that going, and I just want it to all be one video. And yeah, so I mean, I'll try to get that video out this week. Right now for videos, we're looking at we got the ICP test that's coming out. We got, of course, the Q&A, probably a rambling video this week. It depends on kind of what my mood is, but and then of course there is a list of shit over here that I'm in the works. So yeah, we'll try to get that video out this week, Mike. Let's see what we can do. What kind of bandsaw do you have? It's the Griffin off of BRS. There you go. I think Marine Depot sells them too, but yeah, it's the Griffin bandsaw. Okay, here we go. Hey, Travis, I was running Neo Nitro for low NO3. I guess I kind of overdosed and ended up with 50 ppm. What is the quickest to get it down in the appropriate level? Well, the thing is there's no such thing as quick. The fact that you overdosed it just shows that you don't have the patience to dose. I'm not trying to be an asshole. So dose it slowly, obviously, and then to take it out, you're going to have to either let nature take its course with macroalgae and kind of consumption-wise through the corals and all that stuff, or you can do your water changes like a bi-weekly, or sorry, every other day for 30% is a good way to get the nutrients down. But those fluctuations from going high nutrients to low nutrients are going to cause issues with the tank. So, 50 ppm is bad, but I've seen worse than that. So, do you have a ton of algae going everywhere? Your corals closed up? Is there any ill effects? If there's nothing negative that you see going on with it, I would just give it some time to come down and continue your water changes. If you want to go weekly, that's probably okay. But just don't be doing a 100% water changes and crazy shit like that, because you're going to end up stressing the tank out. I mean, just be careful with your dosing next time. Just kind of go slow. Next question. Green hair algae in the refugium, but none in the main display. Good or bad? I don't see a problem with that. I mean, the light over the refugium's obviously out competing for the main display. So if it's in the refugium, it's not really an issue. If it gets like really crazy, starts clogging up stuff, or starts being a problem where it's going in the overflow or getting to your return pump, I would consider figuring out why it's so high. Why do you have the nutrients are up there? But if it's not in the main display, I wouldn't really worry about it. But it is an indication that your nutrient levels are high. The best thing you can do is add more macroalgae to your refugium to help outcompete the green hair algae. That'd probably be your best bet. Who's the jackass that hit the thumbs down button already? Seriously, dude? Well, I got to be a prick. By the way, if you're coming in, there's only 35. I only see 35 likes on my end, so probably hit the thumbs up button. So let's go ahead and lost my spot already. That's another reason why I don't want to get rid of this program, is I can select and highlight a name that you guys see on the screen here, and if all the comments come in, I can still scroll down and or scroll back up and get to my original spot. Okay, next question. What's a good alkalinity to remain at with a few SPS but LPS dominant tank? I'm a big fan of 8.5 to 9 for some of those LPS tanks. Personally, 9.95 is where I like to be for the SPS. But then again, it's not a huge deal. As long as you're not sitting at any kind of extreme. So if you're not at 7 and if you're not at 12, then I think you're fine. Staying in that middle between 8 and 9 is a good place, because it gives you fluctuation room. So if something happens, let's say you accidentally overdose calc or something goes on with the tank, you're able to catch it. That way it doesn't go to like 15 DKH or some crazy shit like that and wipes out your whole system. So happy medium is always good with a reef tank, and of course keeping the fluctuations to a minimum. Let's see here. Can you use this is another question from Mike. Can you use a calcium reactor to dose trace elements, or does the calcium reactor provide the trace elements you needed? Okay, so the calcium reactor does provide certain trace elements based on the fact that it is breaking down coral skeletons that were alive at one point, that uptake nutrients and uptake everything from being in the ocean. And you are breaking that down and you are releasing those elements into the tank, but it's not going to be in huge numbers. I have noticed a pretty decent amount of coloration and growth difference between a calcium reactor and 2-part, but it could also just be the system, the better lighting that I have now. I mean, there's so many other factors that I have that are much better than my previous 125, so I can't just say the calcium reactor was the best thing. But your best bet is to use a calcium reactor, kind of do an ICP test once the system is established, and see where your elements are, if you are lacking or anything like that. And then you can implement something like refuel, which I personally use, and I dose that twice a week, and it seems to do pretty well. Okay, what do you use for phosphates reduction? I use a refugium, but the nitrates go to 0 and the phosphates remain at 0.25. Should I dose nitrates? Well, you should keep that happy balance. There definitely should be more nitrates kind of in the system than there is phosphates. There is a balancing act. You don't want either one of them going to 0 or near 0, because that's when you start getting stuff like dino. So when it comes from what I use for phosphate reduction, it's going to be the refugium, and I have a pretty bomb ass skimmer. And then of course I monitor my feeding, and I actually dose nitrates and phosphates. So I'm not in the business of trying to reduce them too much, but yeah. So hopefully that helps. I would definitely get your nitrates up. You don't want them at 0. And then just monitor your phosphates. You ever seen any cyanobacteria with the phosphates being that high? You should be seeing it around 0.10 or 0.20. Sorry, not 10. That's when you start seeing phosphates. And technically at like 0.18 is when cyanobacteria starts kicking in, at least in my system. So in the dead spot. So Yeah, you should. I would definitely get your nitrates up. Oh, hey, what do you think is important for coral coloration? It's definitely going to be the lighting that you have. That plays a big role. Um, you can use shitty, cheap lighting. You can still grow corals. You can still grow them quickly. You guys saw that in the 125. I grew coral relatively quickly with the cheap Aquamars or Mars Aqua, however else you want to pronounce it, lights. But it all comes down to the spectrum. You want to make sure you have a good light, good spectrum. That's why I use Radions and Kessels. I use the AI primes as well over the 40 gallon. And, the spectrum is very important. Of course, you want to make sure that you have all your minor elements in check with an ICP test to make sure you're not overdosing or underdosing anything. And just making sure you have a good bio load, keeping the nutrients stable. I know that nitrates and phosphates play a huge role in coloration. And you'll know that when you bottom it out, you'll end up getting really pale corals, or vice versa. You have too many, you're going to have really dark corals. So making sure that your nutrients are in check are it all comes together. There isn't just one thing in a reef tank that determines coloration. There's going to be multiple things. You got your light, your nutrients, and you got your micro elements and stuff like that, calcium, alkalinity, stability, all those things. So yeah. But I will say that there's a huge difference in what you get versus what you pay for when it comes to lighting. There's no doubt about that. That's for sure. Let's move down. All right. What do you think about this brand of light, Ocean Revive? I have used them, actually. I used to use them when I set up my first coral quarantine on the video that's on my website underneath, I think, any coral that's there. That was an Ocean Revive light. I got it from Scott from Roscoe's Reef. And I know that he grew acros with them with no problem for a long time before he took his system down. So they work. Do they work as well as Radion, Kessels, or AI primes? No, but they do work and they do serve a purpose. And the thing is that I'm not just saying people go out and spend a ton of money on high-end lighting. I'm not saying that, but I am saying if you are going to use your hobby as a way to make money, or you're using it to get the best bang that you can for how much you've invested overall in the system, then it doesn't hurt to spend a lot of money on lighting, or at least a good portion of your money on lighting, because it does play a pretty big role in how successful your tank can be. So move down here. What is your experience with keeping Goniopora? I had two of them in the 300. I have one that's hosting an anemone or a clownfish right now. They're good. I mean, I sold a ton of them. I've had a whole bunch of different versions of it. Not really a fan of it. You guys probably noticed I don't really like corals that do a lot of movement. I know that earlier on I did. I'm more of a stick fan. They're relatively easy. Give them pretty decent flow. They'll tell you if they're pissed off. If you put it in a tank, what I always tell people, if you're going to get one of those corals, put it in the tank, see if it opens up. If it doesn't open up within a few days, then put it in a different spot in the tank. Don't change anything with the flow. Don't change anything else. Just move it around and see when it's happy. It will tell you when it's happy, and it definitely will tell you when it's not. So that's kind of my experience with them so far. Thanks for the live stream, helping a ton of people. Yeah, that's the goal, man. Appreciate it, Cody. Trying to help as many people as I possibly can in the shortest amount of time is always the goal. So let's go ahead and get down here to another question. Okay, I'm looking to add a coral QT, considering that although I have not had any problem yet, I feel like I would be at least selective on where I get the coral should I have one. Do I need a good light for coral QT? Okay, well, you don't need a good light. You don't need a crazy expensive light. You need something that is able to keep the coral alive during the process. So maybe those Ocean Revives or a Mars Aqua or something low end like that would be more than fine for a coral quarantine. Make sure you don't crank it all the way up, because you will melt corals real quick with that light. So one of my favorite corals for coral quarantine, for this BioCube that I have right behind me, or to use the new HD Prime or even the old HD Prime if I can find one for cheap. But that's one of my favorite lights for coral quarantine. It's relatively cheap. I think again it's like $150 or $200 or something like that. Really good light, and you get the bracket and stuff. I think is an extra $30. But either way, you're looking under $250 at max. You're looking at a really good light that not only you can use on a tank like that, but if you ever want to add anything else, you can. And plus, you can grow any coral underneath that light depending on how deep the tank is. But if you're staying around a 30-gallon, one of those lights is more than enough for any Acropora. So, but yeah, the first thing you want to do when it comes to buying corals, buying from somebody that's reliable and somebody that takes care of their tank and doesn't have pests. And if you're going to buy them from a wholesale company, or not wholesale company, but a local fish store or something like that, those need to go in quarantine, definitely. I recommend quarantine regardless of where you get them, but especially for corals that come in mass production wise or influx from other countries into like local fish stores. Those definitely need to be quarantined, because there's no chance that the people that they're paying, the minimum amount of money to work there are going to take the time to make sure the corals are good. I mean, those mom and pop ones are probably your best bet, because there are people that pay attention to, small details. So, yeah, I went off on that one a little bit. My bad, buddy. All right, let me see. Okay, here we go. Someone's talking about the coronavirus. Okay. What's the name of the brown and green encrusting coral to the upper right of the shot? I wish I could say what shot. This shot? This comment was from 709. Yeah, fucking 12 minutes ago. I don't know, man. Brown and green encrusting coral upper right. I don't know. I don't know. We're definitely not in that screen. Sorry about that, buddy. Okay, moving down here. If you're coming in, hit the thumbs up. Appreciate it. If you're an asshole, hit the thumbs down. Since there's 2 assholes already, was probably already left. Let's go here. Honestly, guys, I don't hate haters. I don't hate people that thumbs down my videos. I just like picking on them because obviously they're mad about something, which is hilarious because it is just a YouTube channel that creates content about reef tanks. Not really too much to hate, but who knows? I am bald. They might not like the fact that I don't have enough hair on my head. I don't shave my nuts. Does that make you feel better? I don't fucking know. Anyway, before we go off on that. Okay, so have you ever used Chemiclean? No. If you're going to use it, do it per the instructions. I've never used it. Sorry, buddy. Moving down. Okay, do you have any videos on cycling a tank? I'm starting a 125 gallon. Yes, go to the 300 gallon playlist and look how I cycled and got the 300 ready for what it is now. Motherfucker, they've scrolled all the way down. 10 minutes later. Moving down here. Okay, what is the best way to switch from old style and a small sump to a bigger sump? Should I just put all my old water in new sump and then bio balls in aquarium? Okay. What's the best way to switch my old style and small sump to a bigger sump? Should I just put all my old water to the new sump and the bio balls in the refuge? Okay. You're using bio balls. Get rid of that shit. That's the first thing you want to do is the old sump. You probably have those trickle filter, I'm assuming, something like that. Just toss it, man. Yeah, you just transfer as much water as you possibly can over. Get rid of that old media. You just use the rock from the main display. Hey, Hex, do you sell fish on your website? I do not. Sorry. I do not sell fish anymore. I don't even bring them in for clients anymore. I tell them to get their own damn fish because it's too big of a hassle. I took down the quarantine system here. I don't like quarantine fish for people. I feel bad because they come in, I get the fish in, it goes through quarantine, and then if it dies in like 2 weeks, I feel awful at the fact that they just paid such and such amount of money for a fish that just died, and they didn't even get to see it. So I will help them set up a quarantine tank and help them go in the right direction and quarantine their own damn fish. All right. I moved my SPS and my Coral QT from a magnetic frag rack to an egg crate. Next morning, 50% had died. I never took them out of the water and place them at the same light. What the fuck could have been done to kill them? Okay, so well, there's a lot of things. If you just took them from one tank and dropped it in the other, if your alkalinity is even a point off, that immediate fluctuation in alk could kill off SPS really quickly. Temperature differences, alkalinity differences, salinity differences, those are all things that should kill you. Even if you're taking it from a coral QT that you have, you should still drip or acclimate your coral to the main display the same way you would if you were to get it from somewhere else, because it needs time to adjust to those changes. If not, at least make sure the tanks are the exact same on all those parameters, especially alkalinity, because that will kill it 0 to real quick. I'm assuming that's what it is. Moving down here. Craig, hey, Travis, I recently got a colony of zoanthids and the rock it came in has a bubble algae. What is the best way to tackle it? Frag and zoas in a bin of rock, or get emerald crab and manual removal. I would manually remove it. I don't know. You said it came in on a rock. So can you take the rock out and scrub it in a bucket with salt water and just scrub it and try to get it as clean as you possibly can. I would do that. And I would also, but you want to do it in a way that you're not popping the bubbles. That's key. And if you are going to pop them, make sure they're not in the damn tank, because that's how it spreads. So just clean it as best you can. And then emerald crabs do a really, really good job. So you can always do that. I wouldn't ever intentionally put bubble algae into my tank. I know that I've gotten in the past, which is strange because I've never put anything in there that had it and it just kind of popped up. So I don't know where the hell that came from. But yeah, emerald crabs do a great job. I just wouldn't be doing any work with the bubble algae while it's in the main display. Definitely take the rock out and do it in a bucket or another tank or something. Moving down. What's your thoughts on auto water changes using a Jabo doser? Okay. If it was a Jabo doser, are you talking about the Jabo doser that I did a video on, that DP4? I would not use Jabo for anything other than, I don't know, just maybe 2-part. I just, the way Jabo's been going, man, between the freaking power heads taking a shit, the calibration of the pump, of the dosing pump going out, and a couple clients, I don't know. I've said this before, over the last year or two, they just kind of suck ass. It's so annoying. So if it comes to Jabo, I would use it to siphon urine out of the toilet, maybe out to the backyard or something, but I would not use it on a reef tank. The only reason why I even keep keeping that Jabo freaking video up is because it helps so many people how to program it. But yeah, if you're gonna do auto water changes, use the Apex, Neptune Apex dose or DOS, however else you want to pronounce it. I say it like that every time, like DOS or DOS, because somebody always says shit about it, and I just say it like that so I don't have to hear it. And yeah, so use a higher end pump for auto water changes. And I only recommend auto water changes if you're not around to do maintenance, because water changes for me personally are just simply to remove detritus. Just that's it. Just I remove detritus through water changes. I don't use it to supplement any kind of nutrient or elements or nutrients or anything like that. So it's cool if you don't need it for any other purpose and you're not going to be around to do water changes. But if you are going to be around, just do the damn water changes. It takes 20 minutes. So moving down. Make sure you hit the like button. Por favor. Let's go here. Making as many frags as you do. Do you pre-soak your plugs to create a biofilm? No, I don't. I ain't got time for that shit, man. Nope. And it doesn't really make a difference. When they're dry, the glue sticks better, and no issues. Yeah. What are your 3 favorite fish? Amount of money doesn't matter. Sailfin tang, the clown tang, if I could ever get one through quarantine, and the gem tang. Tang guy, man, that's it. I'm not really a fan of anything else. I really liked the snowflake eel Reggie when I had him, but yeah, no more eels for me, unfortunately. Okay, let's go down here. What is the hardest SPS coral you have ever kept in, and one that you just can't keep for whatever reason? Okay, this just recently happened. The script stag. Fuck you, script stag. Oh my god, I fucking hate that thing. Okay, I grew it to the size of a freaking basketball in the 300, and then one day it's like, screw you guys, I'm gonna go home and fucking die. So some of it was okay, some of it wasn't. I just got done ranting about this with somebody on the phone. So yeah, the script stag is, I hate that damn thing. I have like 25 frags of it in the setup now, just healing, hopefully to look good eventually and then be sold. But yeah, script stag. I don't know why. Also, the pink lemonade. That thing was awesome for the longest time, and then it just kind of, I don't know. It just decided that it didn't want to be pretty anymore, and then it's like, okay, one week it's happy, the next week it won't have any polyps, following week it's all right, and I don't know. Script stag and pink lemonade, those are my 2 freaking pain in the butts right now. Don't know why though. Moving down. Where is the best place for my Lobos and Chalice? They grew huge and now are slow growing. Okay, bottom of the tank. You can even see on the video now that the big Lobos at the bottom of the tank. I like them there because you can move them around. You get them away from things. I know that they tend to have chalices, and Lobos tend to have pretty big sweeper tentacles and can do a lot of damage to nearby corals. So I try to keep them away from anything that I want to survive. A good thing you can do is put it next to a pile of GSP. Wipe that shit out. I don't think that would work, but it'd be pretty cool to see what it would do. A big old Lobo taking care of that. But yeah, just keep them low and move them around. I like keeping even chalices on disc because again, you can move them around. I did take a couple chalices already off this rock structure this week because the sweeper tentacles were wiping out my acros. So kind of bummed about that, but you know, it is what it is. Moving down. Moving down. Okay. I've got an extreme slime coat on absolutely everything that clogs my filters within minutes. I've tried Dr. Tim's products, adding more bacteria via UV sterilizer and dosing nitrates and phosphates. No dice. Ideas. A huge slime coat. It sounds like it's a version of bacteria. To be clogging like that, if you're having something that is like thick and mucousy, it's probably bacteria itself, and you shouldn't be dosing any bacteria. Manual removal is probably the best thing you can do. Oh, Jesus. I've never even dealt with that. I've had it kind of come up on a filter. I mean, within an ATO, just like this mucousy, slimy stuff. I would say manual removal would be your best option, and I would stop dosing any bacteria. I just think you're just adding to the problem by doing that. A lot of people are using bacteria as a solution. I don't know, for everything, it seems, but it's not. Sometimes it can make things very complex and make them worse off than what they are. Nature always finds a way, good or bad. It always does. Adding more to it doesn't always help. So let's see. When has I ever added any bacteria to the tank? When I did the Zeovit way back, when I tried that Zeobac. Other than that, bacteria, I don't think so. I've been fine so far. I'm sorry I couldn't answer the question that great, but I just got a feeling it's the excess bacteria that you're adding that's causing that issue. But I would just try to manually remove it to the best of your ability and keep up with that. I got baby hammer with a tiny head. Okay. Best way to feed besides just throwing refoids. Don't feed it. You don't need to feed it. You don't need to feed it. I'll just leave it at that. Just leave it alone. Let it grow. All right, noob here. Will blood fire shrimp live in a cycled live rock only tank? If so, how many shrimp would you put in 80 gallons? I'd like shrimp only aquarium. Okay, I've never had that shrimp before. I don't know too much about its behavior, but I can tell you that, yes, it will live in a live rock only tank. I would say if I were you, I would look up and see if they're territorial, if they fight for whatever reason, stuff like that. I can't give you any information, Mark, because I never had one. But one thing that you would want to do is you want to make sure that there's food in the tank. And when it comes to feeding shrimp, even on the freshwater side, you want to go light on the food because they don't always they look hungry all the time. They're always moving around trying to get scraps and stuff. They're not that hungry. So just be light on how much you feed so you don't cause more issues with the tank. So sorry I couldn't answer all that question. But I would look in to see if they're territorial, if they want to fight each other and shit before you start buying a ton of them. Next question. Do you think it's necessary to clean test tubes with RO water after testing? Yes, I do that. Or you can rinse it out with salt water. I like to rinse it out with salt water afterward, and then I rinse it with salt water before I test as well. And Kelly, thanks for the super chat on that, by the way. So I do it before and after. It's fine. You don't have to use RO water, but you can at least make sure it's not got crusty stuff in it. And just make sure it's clean. You're good to go. Thoughts on just dosing elk only? I don't know if this is a troll or he's really asking, because I mean, most people who know me know that I fucking don't agree with dosing only elk. When it comes to dosing anything, unless it's a specific plan that states that their ratio is not equal parts, then that's when you won't dose equal parts calcium and alkalinity. But if you're dosing like BRS 2-part, shit like that, you need to dose equal parts calcium and alkalinity, never one or the other. George. Do you have any experience with the Reef Breeders Photon V2? I do not. Sorry. How often do you feed your corals? Never. I don't feed them. I feed the fish. The fish feed the corals. All right. Travis, where is a good place to buy intact coral skeletons? I don't know. Find a buddy who killed his fucking tank. I don't know, man. I don't buy that stuff, man. I just buy Reborn and use that in my calcium reactor. Next question. I'm starting my first tank and bought some natural dry rock from my local fish store. No signs of organic material on it. Does it still need to be cycled? Yes. Put it in a brute trash can, cycle it, and just do it. Moving down here. I know I'm moving through these quickly, but I'm at what 7:16, and I'm like, yeah, I'm at 7:16 is when I'm looking at minutes right now, and then we're at 7:34. So I'm trying to move through these relatively quickly. Okay. What par are you at for your acros in a 300? 1 inch down from 250. Okay. Okay. So when it comes, I was going to link the video, but I'm going to be able to find it through this. Cody, go to the 300 gallon playlist and you can see a full on. I did all the par for the 300. Yeah, that's all I can tell you. I was going to find the video, but it's going to take too much time. I'm thinking about adding 2 more XR15s to get the 300 to 400 par. Okay, so I just added the third XR15 over the low boy, the grow out system, and it brought up the par to like 3-ish, 350. So if you're over 250, you're fine. If you're looking for high, faster growth, depending on the coral, you might want to be up around that 400, 500 range, depending. I know in the 300 here, we go from like, I don't know, freaking 700 or something all at the top. I'm pretty sure right at the top of the water is almost $1,000. And then all at the bottom's 250. So 200, 250. So there's a huge range, and you can see the corals are thriving in all different levels. I would say kind of get the par to match the coloration you're looking for and the growth speed of growth that you want. So, but 350 to 450, you should be fine in there. Moving down. Your thoughts on Dr. Tim's One and Only? I don't have any thoughts. I never used it. Sorry. Travis, going to set up another grow out tank 12 inches deep. Just bought eight T5 fixtures, 8 times T5 fixture, giving 600, 800 par at 12 inches. I'm going to take going to a bake SPS, or will they grow faster? Okay, well, Nick, depends on freaking where your SPS are now par wise before you put them into an 600, 800 par. If you're sitting at like 250 and you put that acro into, or SPS, any SPS into a 600, 800 par, yeah, you're going to cook it. You can't just go balls deep. You got to spit on it before you throw it in. So yeah, just go slow. And I would probably bring the fixture up a little bit and try to get around that 450 range. You'd be happier doing it that way. You can actually add some corals again. But if all your corals right now are at 600 to 800 par, yeah, you can throw them in there. But understand, when you sell those corals, the average you have to grow your corals. Okay, let me say this right. In my grow out tanks, in my reef tank, I'm gonna grow my corals a little bit faster with some higher par. But when they go into the healing tank, they go into a lower par because the average joker ain't rocking no 400, 500, 600 par. It's just not happening. So if you want to set the customer up for success, you need to sell them corals that are in an appropriate par range that the average reefer can obtain. So that's what I like to do. I grow them in higher par, get them out, going fast as I can, and then okay, I'm going to let that one go through. So again, grow them at whatever par you want, but before you sell them, make sure they're at an appropriate range for the average reefer, and that's probably the best advice I can get anybody trying to do a grow out system. Moving down, I hear you talk about refuel all the time. Are you talking about the Seachem fuel or something else? I don't know. Let me fucking look in the fridge. Aqua Vitro. Roll my big ass over here. Aqua Vitro is the fuel that I use. And yeah. Next question. Would you recommend for what would you recommend for a BioQ lid? I don't know. I'm not using one. Keep that shit wide open. Moving down. Do you still use the planted tank for your dosing calculator? No. I don't think that's up anymore. Moving down. What is a good way to kill Aiptasia? Go to my beginner guide playlist and find the video on killing Aiptasia. But nudibranchs, Aiptasia wand, Aiptasia X, quarantine your fucking coral and you won't ever get them. Just basic shit. Moving down. Is it okay to quarantine inverts in my coral QT? Yes, you can. Yeah, I don't see any problem with that. Just keep an eye on them. I would make sure that the shells are cleaned. If you're getting snails and stuff, go toothbrush before you put them in there. Make sure you get all the tube worms and all sorts of shit off of them so you don't get them in your tank. Moving down. Hey, Travis, when do you know that your tank is finished cycling, and when do you do your first water change? Okay, so the cycling process is ammonia, and then bacteria will come in or produce that will break down the ammonia into nitrites, and then another bacteria will come through and break those nitrites down to nitrates. When you do your test and you only have nitrates on your test kit, that means that your tank is cycled. If you see nitrites or ammonia, that means your tank is not cycled. So what I would do is wait until there's nothing but nitrates, and then wait another 2 weeks, and then do your first water change of 30 to 40%. Moving down. It also depends on how high your nitrates are. If you're cruising, let me move my mic here. If you're cruising up at really high nitrates because your rock is super dirty, then yeah, you might want to consider doing a water change as soon as you only see nitrates, so you can avoid any issues with algae. But honestly, if you're curing dirty rock, you should be curing it in a bin, in a trash bin or a brute trash can or whatever the heck you want to call it, and do your 50% water changes like I did. You can check out that video on the 300-gallon playlist on how to cycle rock appropriately. Moving down. Hey, Dimitri. Hey, the guy who created Aquatic Log, which I still use, by the way. I do all my shit on Aquatic Log. See if I can pull it up. Oh, shit. Is he going to let me do it? Maybe. Nope. Of course not. I knew it wasn't going to let me do it. I was high hopes, I suppose. Now I got to fix my screen. I tried, man. All right. I don't know. I'm going to fix that here in a second. It's kind of weird the way it looks, but anyways, let me scroll back up and find the comment where I was at, since I am not even where I was supposed to be. Ugh. All right, 1 second. I got to switch this around real quick. If you have to take a piss, take a piss. I'll be back in, I don't know, 30 seconds. All right, man. Dimitri almost broke my damn computer trying to show you guys the Aquatic Log. Some noob shit right there. Anywho, hopefully you guys piss quick enough because we're starting again. Moving down. Okay, next question. But before, though, seriously, aquaticlog.com, you guys can check that out. That's where I keep track of all my water parameters and all the shit that I'm doing. It's pretty cool. And I believe it's free now. I almost want to say that he made it free. Yeah, so go there. Anyways, hey, any transition tips for moving from the black box LEDs to the Radiance? Okay, transition. Okay. Yes, make sure you know what power you're getting on those black box already. Even if it's just a general idea with the with the Senai Reef, and then put the Radions on and try to match that as best you can, because Radions will smoke that light real quick, and you can really do a lot of damage if you don't know what you're sitting at. All right, moving down. What spectrum are you using on your AI LED setup lights? Okay, AB Plus version, which is my version of the AB Plus. Yeah, I have a video on that, Felix, on the, I think it's the 30-gallon Nuvo tank, that playlist. There is a setup on there, and you can also probably check out the 40-gallon Shallow Reef. I'm pretty sure I showed that one on there as well. Clown Tang was on your bucket list. They can be aggressive, right? Yes, they can be very aggressive, but that was a risk I was willing to take. But honestly, I'm probably not going to be adding any more fish to this system ever. As I mentioned before, the tank is growing out to the point where the fish don't have a lot of swimming room. That Vamingi Tang is ass backwards trying to move around in that tank. So yeah, I probably won't be adding very many fish. And I really like a lot of fish, but I just really like coral more. So it's kind of one of those things. But yeah. Okay, what brand of amino acids do you recommend dosing? How often should I dose? How much? All right, Nick. When it comes to amino acids, I use the Aquavitro refuel, and you just dose per the recommendations on there. Because I dose 100 milliliters twice a week, and that's for 500 gallons of water. So if you got a 30 gallon shit, you don't want to do that, Nick. You're gonna have some serious problems. So, but the Aqua Vitral refuel, I think you can buy it on eBay. Positive you can do that. I buy it locally, which I'm thankful that I can get it locally because I was buying it online for a while and it was expensive. And now I just I take a half an hour trip and spend like, I don't know, freaking $100 and then have it for like 6 months. Moving down. 125 for watching, only 36 thumbs up. Yeah, okay, yeah. Yeah, you guys should probably hit the thumbs up. 5 dislikes. Motherfuckers. No, I don't really care, to be honest. 123 likes. That's all I see. There might be a delay on that for me. I don't know, but I don't really care. Moving down. Not all the way down, preferably. Son of a bitch. Did that really go all the way down like that? Wow. Okay. I'm at 25 minutes behind schedule. Good luck, guys. Getting your question in here and then waiting a fucking half an hour to hear it. I'm going to try to go faster, right? If I take rock from a well-established tank and put it in a new nano tank, do I still need to let the tank cycle? Well, if you take it from a well-established tank, you shouldn't have to wait for it to cycle, but it's always good to at least wait a couple weeks to let the tank balance out for the bioload and everything before you start adding any corals, at least SPS. You can add soft corals and LPS because they don't give a shit. Moving down. Is it normal to get a bacteria bloom when adding new fish? Not really. If you're adding new fish and you get a bacteria bloom, I mean, it just makes me think that your biological filtration isn't that great. You shouldn't be getting any bacteria blooms with new fish. How many new fish did you add? I'm going to look for the answer, but again, we're freaking 25 minutes behind. I'll probably never get it from you. But no, you should not be getting a bacteria bloom with that. When it comes to bacteria blooms, a lot of people like to do a ton of water changes, this, that, no. Just leave it alone. Let it go away. It'll go away in time. Moving down. Moving down. Okay, when is the right time to add coral? By the way, my tank has been running for 6 months. Yeah, you're good, man. You can add it whenever you want. Now, seriously though, after you're cycling, depending on your experience level, once your tank is cycled, you can add any coral you want or any amount of coral that you want. You just have to know how to take care of it. So, quick example, so we don't spend too much time on this. If your tank is cycled and you add a whole bunch of SP or a whole bunch of soft corals, you don't have to really do shit. You can add as many as you want. If you start adding quite a bit of LPS, you want to keep an eye on your alkalinity to make sure you don't have any issues. If you add a full tank of SPS, you want to monitor your alkalinity pretty closely over the next couple weeks, because when it starts growing, after the first get adapted to the tank, and then you want to make sure you don't get any dips in alkalinity and cause any issues. But general rule is if you're comfortable adding corals to your tank, just add them. But just understand there's responsibilities depending on what type you add. Moving down. Hey, Travis, question about the Senai Reef monitor. Do you keep the monitor in the sump or the tank? And how often do we need to check the PAR and lights? Okay, so I just use it strictly for PAR readings. Excuse me. When I'm done with that shit, it goes up on the shelf, and I use it for whenever I add lights or a client needs it in the future. And if you're using LEDs, you shouldn't have to check them at all. After you check them the first time, you get a general PAR. You shouldn't have to make any changes. You might be different if you're using shipbox LEDs. I don't really know. I know that on the 125, I had Mars Aquas. I never had to check the PAR. I did it strictly for video purposes. But other than that, LEDs pretty much stay the same. If you're using T5s and stuff, of course, you want to keep an eye on that with the T5 bulbs. Wait, you don't like Marine Pure spheres? No, I don't like Marine Pure at all. I used to really like it earlier on with the 125, and then I started using a lot of it, and then I started getting a lot of aluminum in my ICP tests. So, yeah, I don't like Marine Pure. And plus, if you're going to use Marine Pure, and I tell everybody this, put it after the mechanical filtration. If you do not have mechanical filtration, like a filter sock or a sponge or any kind of shit like that, do not use Marine Pure, because that just takes all the little particles of bullshit and it clumps it all together, and then it just releases new. It's like a glorified nitrate factory / I don't know what the heck's the other term I want to use. I guess I can leave it at that. It just gets disgusting after a while, and if you only use it if you're okay with the aluminum in the tank, and if you're okay with mechanical filtration prior to using it. Other than that, I wouldn't bother. Yeah, too bad you don't get paid for how much you watch. Yeah, YouTube pays me enough money. I ain't worried about it. I don't do this for the. I don't do these live streams for money, guys. It's not a big deal. If you guys want to be super chats, you guys want to super chat, and you want to help me out, and you want to support the channel, by all means. But I definitely don't do this for money. No one does YouTube for money. that you'd be a fucking idiot unless you got it. I'm not going off on that. Nope. Going to get flagged. Moving down. Okay. Can you share your XR15 schedule intensity that you use on your tank? Or maybe do a video on, I have it already. It's on the 300 gallon playlist, buddy. You can see the lighting and the PAR that I did. When I did the PAR reading for the 300, I showed you guys what I use for the spectrum and the intensities. Intensity. Hey, Travis, I want to go bare bottom on an existing tank that has about an inch of sand. Any tips on how to go about without any sand about mini cycle? Okay, this is something I'm going to move around. Chair's going to squeak. Okay, so this is actually something that people do quite often. When you want to go bare bottom, you have a tank that has sand in it. The best way to do it is to do it during your water changes. So if you're doing a bi-weekly water change of 20%, what you want to do is skim the top of the sand. Don't stick the hose all the way in there and go balls deep, removing all the sand at once. What you want to do is just skim the sand to remove a layer, a thin layer during your first water change. And then your next water change, remove a little bit more sand and keep doing that all around the tank slowly. And especially for those of you who have deep sand beds and you got those pockets of that nitrogen gas, you want to make sure you don't release that shit into the tank all at once, at least. And so slowly get in there and remove a little bit of sand each and every time you do a water change, and eventually it will be gone. It's not a quick process, so don't think you're going to go in there and just rip out, half the sand in your first water change, and you think that's going to be okay. Depending on how much is in there and how deep it is and how old it is, it might be okay, but is it worth the risk, or you just want to take the time to do it? Moving down. What kind of power heads do you use? Okay, in the 300, I have Jabo PPW P60s, something like that. I did have PP20s that I killed a couple weeks ago. Rest in peace. In the 40 gallon, I have that Nero 5. Yes, I'll do a video on it this week, or maybe next week. I'll have a video on that. The Grow Out tanks will have Nero 5s as well, one in each tank. And I have an MP10 in the selling tank, which I am going to remove and replace with a Nero 5. Moving down. Okay, here we go. Follow up on my dead SPS. I kept them in the same tank, moved them from a magnet rack in the glass PVC egg crate in the middle of the tank. Aaron, I think I fucked up, man. I forgot the first part of the question. That was my bad, dude. I think it was the one where you were moving it from the quarantine tank to the regular tank, and then it died on the process. Again, I think I'm going back to, if this is the same question, the same person, I'm going back to differences in you kept, okay, shit. That's how late it is, fucking it up. So you kept them in the same tank, but you moved them magnetic rack to PVC. Okay, PAR differences, flow differences. I mean, even the difference in flow can cause STN, depending on, if you go from a flow that just doesn't get any corals just kind of chilling there, and then you put it in front of a power head, it's probably going to be pissed off. It could potentially rip the skin off. I've done it before. I've actually have to move the power heads around in 300 every once in a while, because it blows against the same colony, and there's not really much I can do about it, and it kind of warps the colony and how it grows. It pisses it off. So yeah, just it could have been the difference of PAR. It could have been the flow. If they're in the same tank, they shouldn't be dying like that, to be honest. Again, unless those two things were a big factor. So yeah, hopefully that answers your question. Moving down. Jesus. It's so funny. I see people bringing up the comment here regarding the Jabo siphoning urine, and that was like fucking 20 minutes ago. I'm like, oh yeah, I did say that. Fuck. Okay, moving down. Okay, next one. Robert, Travis, I am restarting my reef tank after a major crash with all new equipment. After the tank cycles, would 15 frags be as many? Would 15 frags be too many frags to put in a tank at one time, or does it matter? It depends on what type of frags. If you're talking about buying my 15 pack off the website and you just cycled the tank, if you're good with SPS, if you're familiar with SPS and you're confident in being able to take care of them, then that's not going to be a problem. 15 frags ain't shit. But if you're just Joe Schmo off the street and you don't know shit about SPS, then yeah, that might be a problem. So it's on you, man. Aaron, thanks for the super chat. I didn't mean to mess up your question. It just kind of was a two-part thing. Sorry about that. Moving down here. Top 10 SPS. Oh, Jesus. I don't mean to skip over some of your guys' questions. I just know when I see certain questions, I know that I'm going to spend 20 minutes answering it, and I'm trying to avoid that. It's nothing personal. can't because we're never going to get through this. Okay. Don't mind the silence. I would put music in the background, but like I mentioned earlier, YouTube can be a little weird about that. I'm not trying to get any damn strikes. Okay, moving down. Okay. Hi, Travis. What do you dose besides calcium, magnesium, and alkalinity for coral growth? Aquavita Fuel. That's my supplement for minor elements. I use the calcium reactor takes care of the calcium, and the alkalinity. Or sorry, magnesium, calcium, and alkalinity. Calcium reactor takes care of that. And then I use Refuel, which is the Aquavita. I use Acro Power. I dose potassium, and I dose iodine every week. I split it up. I do a half a dose on Wednesday and a half a dose on Sunday, split it up throughout the weekly dose. Moving down. Dan, I have a newly cycled tank, and I am I'm in the really ugly stage. Dose of microbacteria clean was getting under control, then was told that by the local fish store to stop. Now it's 10 times worse. What would you do? Par is 0. Okay, so Dan, your newly cycled tank. There's no such thing as an ugly stage. And people who say that there's an ugly stage in a reef tank are people who just don't know what the hell they're doing. There is no ugly stage. There's an empty stage. There's a, oh shit, I don't have any fucking coral stage. And man, there's too many fish and not enough coral. Yeah, there's that stage. But if there's any Joe freaking schmo who is putting a tank together and getting algae all over the place, it's because you fucked up. Period. That's the only stage is I fucked up stage. And I don't mean to be asshole, Dan. I'm not calling you out. I'm just telling you that you did something wrong, and that's why you got the problem. So you need to go back to the roots. When you start up a new tank, it needs to be cycled outside of the glass, period. I tell people this. You have to cycle your rock outside of the tank. It gives you the best opportunity to cycle it in the dark so you can get up that bacterium biofilm on the rock. You can do big-ass water changes in a brute can, saving you a ton of money on salt, and you can really get the nutrients out before you put the rock in the tank so you can avoid all this so-called ugly fucking stage. Moving down. Again, not calling you out, Dan. I love you. I don't know you. I apologize if I'm an asshole. Moving down. Travis, do you have any experience with Red Sea Nopox Procon? Yes, I've seen a client destroy his whole fucking tank with it. Oh, that poor guy. Oh, I told him not to use it, but nobody listens to me. Well, you guys might listen to me. I don't know. Anyway, yeah. Never used it personally. I don't have any pros and cons. I will tell you that the guy who used it had a hell of a lot of cons. It was fucking bad. He had to tear his whole damn tank down. Either he overdosed it or something. I don't know the directions on it, so you might have to Google that shit. Sorry. Moving down. What's your favorite reef tank that you have seen? Whose tank inspires you? Have you heard Stuart Bertram, David? I haven't heard of either one of those guys. And I don't have a favorite reef tank. I've never been to a large aquarium. Here's a fun fucking fact. I've been all around the world doing the hoorah thing, and I've never even been to the ocean. Get this shit. That's crazy, right? I've never dipped my nuts in the ocean, ever. And I probably won't, because knowing what's in the ocean, I don't need that kind of stuff. I don't need that stuff growing up. Nope. So, and sharks live in the ocean. You know where sharks don't live? In my fucking basement. So I'm not interested in any of that. But yeah, I don't have a tank that inspires me. I was going to be an asshole, like, yeah, only fucking tank I need is my tank. That's the only sponsorship I need. Oh, man, here we go. Going down. It's going to be one of those nights, guys. I had a lot of coffee, and I haven't slept much in like 2 days, so this is the shit you guys get. You better deal with it. Thoughts on the Nero 5, looking to upgrade from Jabo. It's pretty sweet. Moving down. Oh, Kelly, thanks for the donation. I don't know if I already said that, but thank you. I don't know. I'm getting to it now. I don't know if I said it earlier. Do you still need to let the tank cycle if the rocks from a well-established tank? Was this the question from before? I'm pretty sure I answered this. But no, you don't have to. But you should still give it some time. Okay. I think I'm having deja vu, but I don't know what's going on. I don't know. Do you have bristle worms in your tank? Have you ever heard of them eating small fish like blue, green chromis? I have five disappear. Well, you should thank Jesus that your 5 chromis disappeared, because they're a bunch of dickheads. When they get older, all they start doing is picking on all your other fish. They get territorial. They have some freaking babies, and then they start killing off everybody else, and then eventually they kill themselves. So you'd be lucky that they died. Anyways, when it comes to bristle worms, yeah, I got them in my tank. I got little baby ones. I don't have any of those big honker ones. I don't have any of those. I have like little baby ones that I see only at night. They only come out at night, probably because the wrasse is in his cave sleeping. You can't eat them. About to go fallow in an SPS tank. Your thoughts on maintaining nutrients? Dose Hex Phyto and Hex PO4. You can find that on my website, fishofhex.com. Plugging it. Seriously though, I have people doing that all the time. Going fallow, you need to dose nitrates and phosphates. At least keep that stable. So if you have corals, they ain't gonna take a shit because there ain't no nutrients and no fish. I'll be happy to send you some for $1 million. No, going down. All right, what's okay? What swings of major parameters are acceptable during a 24-hour period? If your levels are too low, how much do you increase by in daily days? Okay. Okay, so it depends on the tank. If you have, say you're an SPS tank, I guess we could talk about that. Ruby, thanks for the donation. I'm going to get your question actually hopefully soon. Shit, how far back are we? I might just answer now that it popped up on the other screen. Okay, so when it comes to the SPS tank, for example, when I changed my pump on the calcium reactor, I was making that adjustment. You guys will see a video on that shortly. I went from 9 DKH to 9.8 in one freaking day. It's not a good thing. The corals seem to be okay with it, but you want to do small swings, especially alkalinity is the one you really want to go slow. Like a 24-hour period, like a 9 or an 8 to an 8.2, that's pretty cool. I can do that in 24 hours. But yeah, those big jumps can really cause a lot of stress. Really, it can be a big factor in STN. So I would try to go as slow as you possibly can. That's honestly going to win the race in the long run. What the heck else we got here? Okay, moving down. All right, Glenn. I'm forced to run a Herbie drain with my water box. Would you trickle the emergency or modify? Okay, elbow noise and thing. You can. I would put a hole in it to get rid of the sound, to get the air out. That's what I would do. If you're gonna make any adjustments, you can hit me up. You are a member. You can send me a picture and an email, and I can help you guide you through that process, Glenn. Moving down. Have you ever used a laser to kill Aptasia? No, I have not. Could you use one in green star polyps? I don't know. I'm assuming green star polyps will live through a nuclear winter, so probably not going to work, bro. But you can try. You know what's really good way to get rid of green star polyps, and this is something that I tell everybody: is don't fucking buy them in the first place. Problem solved. Moving down. Best potassium kit. Still looking for high end and collector acros. Okay, I use Red Sea for my potassium. No shit, I don't. Shit, what the fuck do I use? Oh, give me a second. I use Salifert. I don't know if you guys heard that, but I use Salifert for my potassium. Seems to be fine. A good way to check your potassium is do an ICP test. That's a really accurate way to do it. Moving down. Travis, on your DIY NO3 and PO4 video, did you ever have to buy the other pouches other than the 2 you bought? No, I shouldn't have put that damn video up. That video, man, I made that video and everybody and their mother made that video afterward, and it was freaking crazy. It's like you guys never seen anything like that before. Don't fucking buy them. I love it. Okay, moving down. What do you use to reduce phosphates? Nothing. I'm adding phosphates to my tank. My tank just naturally does it with the macroalgae, good skimming, water changes every once a month. I do a 50-gallon water change on 500 gallons, which probably is going to make a huge difference. Best way to reduce the nutrients to phosphates is to don't add them in the first place. We're at almost 200 people. This is a pretty good stream. If you guys like it, give it a thumbs up. I don't know how many thumbs up we have. I don't know, but there should be more. If there isn't 1,000 thumbs up, you guys should be going on your other accounts and coming in and hitting thumbs up because, I'd do it for you. Probably not, but you should anyways. Let's go. You can't, oh God, here we go. You can't just go balls deep. So, okay, thank you. But you guys should check out my new shirt. New shirts on Teespring. The Tommy Boy one was popular. I've got a few of those so far. And then this one about being stupid, that was interesting. I'm a dumbass, so I don't remember what I wrote in it, but it's a pretty good quote. Let's check it out. Okay, Travis, at what par would you start acclimating your Acropora? 250 to 300 would be pretty good acclimation. But again, it's wherever you got them from. Depending on where you got them from, I got to figure something out real quick. Okay, so I'm still 25 minutes behind. I got to scroll up on the other screen and answer Ruby's question, and I got to answer the other super chat that came in because I got a feeling I'm never going to get to them. So, okay, Ruby. So, yeah, acclimate 250, 350 is a good start. Again, try to acclimate it or keep it the way you got it. Figure out who you bought it from, and you can buy it from me. So you can keep it at 250, 350. You'll be fine. Ruby, okay. Just wanted to show my support. Your videos have been most informative and helpful while getting my first reef set up. I appreciate your blunt and straightforwardness. Hey, no problem, Rudy. I just want to make sure I got that into the video for you supporting the channel and make sure I support you. Next one is let me know when you're going to sell some of your pink feather coral in your tank. Don't know the name of it. Okay, that is actually a Gorgonian. And it's on the website right now. It's Groups Gorgonian, and it's underneath LPS. You can find it there. All right, moving back over. Okay. So many comments. Guys, thanks for all the support, all the positive comments. I want to read them, but if I read your guys' positive comments, they'll probably go to my head, and then I'm going to get really full of myself, and I don't want that to happen. So we're going to skip over them, but believe me, know that I am reading them to myself. So thank you for the support. Just don't suck it too hard, man. I got shit to do after this. Next question. What? Oh man, someone's gonna take that the wrong way. Comes a fucking thumbs down. I'm just looking to see any more come in. What marine shrimp are friendly with each other? Shit. Okay, so I've had peppermint shrimp. They're nice to each other, but they're not nice to your coral. That's it. Oh no, cleaner shrimp are pretty sweet. Those dudes are awesome. I got to get some more for the tank. But yeah, get cleaner shrimp. They're pretty cool. They got those long ass antennas and they walk around. You put your hand in there and they're like, yo, what's up? Let me chew on you. They're pretty cool. Do you feed your corals aggressively? I feed them nothing, Jeffrey. Nothing. I feed them love, support, compassionate about how they feel. I talk to them before I go to bed, and I feed them fish shit because that's feed my fish, and then they shit and they eat that. So everybody's happy. Moving down. Hey, buddy, I'm starting a new tank. Should I put glass on the top or leave it open? What are your pros and cons of that? Okay, so it's up to you. If you live in a small house and you got a big tank, you might want to put a lid on it because your house won't have high humidity. Some positives of that is you get to keep the water and it cuts down on evaporation. If you got wrasse and shit that like to jump out, gobies, you can keep them in the tank. That's a good thing. Downside is if you're putting light over it, sometimes the light gets kind of cut down a little bit because the what the hell is it? The little bubbles will sit up at underneath the glass and make a little bit of an issue with light penetration. CO2 gas exchange can be a little bit of an issue depending on what you have in your sump. It's good to have that water movement and exposed to oxygen to help remove CO2 gas. Living tank fed most of us. Oh shit, huge church. Okay, we can show that. Okay, cool. Moving down. So hopefully that answers your question. I hope. Okay, I'm thinking we should try to answer some of the questions that we know as well. Help Travis out. Yeah, you guys can definitely do that. If you guys are answering questions, then I gotta not only do I see the question, but I have to see your answer, and sometimes it adds a little bit of a delay. But shit, you guys talk amongst yourself. I'm just the fucking monkey up here on stage. Don't worry about it. You do what you got to do. Moving down. Okay, what is the blue color? What is the blue coral with the purple tips at the top middle of the rock of your tank called? Favorite coral, but I don't know it. So what is the blue coral with the purple tips at the top middle of your tank? Oh shit, to the left. Okay, yeah, that's just I see it right here. That's just it's a blue with a purple tip stag because that's the name of it. Because I'm creative as shit. It's on the website. I think it's underneath at least the U-Pick packs. You can get one there. I do have some that are healing that will be going in there. I cut a whole bunch of it off this week, but again, it's got to heal for a little while. And honestly, that stuff doesn't stay very long. But yeah, it's a blue with a purple tip stag. Pretty creative. I say so myself. I got to scroll all the way back up, guys. I'm at 1953, so I'm getting closer. Kind of. You guys can keep asking questions. You don't have to hold up. You guys can ask as many as you want. I'll catch up eventually. The reality is I'm not going to catch up 100%. It's not going to happen. That's why we do this every week. So if you don't get your question answered now, you just come in early next week and ask your question quickly and it'll get answered. Or you can join up on the YouTube channel. I hate pushing that. I feel so weird doing that. You can join up and get your questions answered that way. Moving down. When would you justify switching from 2-part to a calcium reactor? Well, there's something that I ran into with the 125. There will be a point because 2-part is made of salt. You will be increasing your salinity in your reef tank if you dose too much 2-part. So I got a buddy named Jack who is actually switching over to a calcium reactor, but he dosed so much 2-part in his tank that he has to, that when he does water changes, because he likes to keep his water at 1.026, he has to make water changes at 1.023 to compensate for how much salt that he's adding to that tank. So even that little bit of fluctuation when you're trying to compensate and bring the salinity down can be a stressful for a tank. So if you have an SPS tank and you're dosing so much 2-part that you find that your salinity is going through the roof in between your water changes, that would be a good indication that you need to switch to calcium reactor. And better yet, you might want to just use a calcium reactor in the first place if you plan on having a lot of SPS, so you can avoid that transition and the headache of going from a 2-part to a calcium reactor, because there is a downtime that you have to compensate for and dial in a calcium reactor. And you don't want to be playing games with a fully stocked reef tank trying to go from one to another. So hopefully that answers your question without making a fucking book out of it. Moving down. Okay. Scrolling down. Glad you guys are repeating the jokes I said like 20 minutes ago. I love reliving that shit. Okay. Hey, Travis. What's up, Tina? She's been a fan for mucho longo years. A long time. Hey, Travis. I'm getting ready to frag my pink bird's nest. That's as big as my hand. I don't want to cut up the whole thing. Can I just take off a few branches and it'll be okay? Yes, you can. Take the bone cutters in there. And as I said before, don't cut through the SPS, add a little bit of pressure, and then do a slight twist. That will break off where you have that pressure. If you try to cut through it, sometimes the shock of just cutting through SPS can cause it to shatter, not only in that spot, but also break off the base. Thanks for the donation there on the super chat. I just saw it come in. So yeah, bone cutters in there a little bit. Give it a little twist with some pressure. You should be good to go. And believe me, I learned the hard way, breaking off entire colonies, going, oh shit. And you guys will see that in the video, actually. Yeah, you guys will see that in the video this week of me cutting up the reef tank. Oh my, nope, probably won't be this week because I still got to finish cutting it. Eventually, you guys will see the video next week, week after, sometime soon. Okay. Moving down. You guys' jokes are not funny. I'm just saying they're pretty funny. Okay. Hey there. Any idea how much your annual cost of operating your reef tank looks? Awesome. Okay. Well, I have a $600 a month electric bill. I shit you not, man. No, for me, because it is a business, it's not just a reef tank. It's not. I get no pleasure from this reef tank. I see nothing but headaches and potential money. Seriously though, making your hobby so I used the hobby for PTSD early on, and then making it a business definitely takes away from the hobby because I freaking live down here, man. Now, I mean, my day starts super early, and I'll be up tonight till freaking midnight. So anyway, back to the annual cost. So electric bill, my whole house is on electric, so I don't know if that's justified all of it, but there's definitely a ton of it down here, and I just add 4 more Radeons, so that's good for that, I suppose. But yeah, salt. So I do a 50-gallon water change every month, and I buy the Fritz Blue Box, which is good for I think 3 water changes, a little over that. So I mean, besides the electric bill, it doesn't really cost that much. I got supplements. I make my own food. I think it's when you're upgrading, like adding lights or you're upgrading a system, that's where the cost really comes in. That's where it really gets you. But once it's stable and you got things rocking, you're basically just paying for electric and salt. I mean, that's about it. I can't really, then if you're dosing refuel or some shit, that whenever you buy it every 6 months. But yeah, it's the initial cost that gets you. But if you can turn that into some money, then you don't have to worry about it ever. Moving down. I already covered Ruby. Got you there. Travis, at what par would you start for Acropora? 250, 350, 450. I would stay around the 300 range. Is pretty safe. And again, as I said before, try to figure out where you're getting your coral from, what they have. You should probably buy acros from me because I tell you where I keep my par at. And you know that they're clean. So it's a win-win. You get the coral, works out for you. I get to fucking keep making videos. It's just, it's a win-win. The more coral you buy from me, the less shit outside the house I get to do, which is fine, considering the fact there's a deadly virus going around, and I'm not going outside anyway. So, fuck it. Moving down. Oh, okay. Montepora fell on its side. I want to re-glue it up. Or is it cooler to leave it growing on a side? Will it get mad? Okay, well, if it's where it actually grows with the polyps, the zooxanthellae, where the light is and the coloration is, yeah, you got to make sure that's getting light still. If it's flipped over and all you see is its white ass from where it never had any light, then yeah, it's going to have a problem. It's probably going to die. So just make sure it's getting enough light, and then you can keep it wherever you want. Moving down. Hit the thumbs up button, people. Only 181, and there's 195 people in here. So all you got to do is just look right now. If you don't have a blue mark where the thumbs up is, you should probably hit it. Just saying. Please. Anyways, spit on it. Go there. Okay. You guys recommend these shirts, and I make them. I make these shirts, and they sell because you guys are just as insane as I am. Spit on it. Go balls deep. New shirt. Okay. Now just put a little fish of hex. There we go. Oh, I scrolled all the way down. All right, let's go and see what we have here. Hey, Travis, got 2 questions. One. Oh, you got 2 questions, man. All right. Well, okay. Thoughts on adding angelfish to a mixed reef tank? Don't. 2. Do you have any idea for your next tank dimensions? Yes, it is going to be 10 foot long, 4 foot wide, and 3 feet tall. That's just the one tank peninsula style. The 300 is going upstairs. And then I have 3 or 4 8 foot by 2 foot by 1 foot tall grow out tanks. All one system. Ugh. To sell both testicles to pay for that. Moving down. My Vomingii tang can feed most by himself. Shit's huge. So yeah, man, Vomingii tangs, they got some massive turds. And everybody just gobbles them up like they're little sweet candy. It's disgusting. But, they do what they got to do, I suppose. Okay, yes. Almost 200 in here. Yeah, we're at, we were. Okay, 12 of you left. Oh, there we go. We're going back up. Yeah, we're doing pretty good. I'm happy with that. I'm good with 50s, fine. I'll take whatever I can get at this point. Any fish that starts with butterfly or ends with butterfly is not going in my reef tank. Not happening. Oh, look at, man, we got some serious dislikes. Ooh. We got butthurt people tonight. You guys better not stick around because it doesn't get any better from here. Is there any is there reasons people don't add like an air stone, for example, to the sump to add some oxygen and pH? Well, speaking of that, actually, I have a whole video on how to elevate your pH, and that's one of the things that I recommend. You can put it in the sump with a wooden air stone and make sure it's not anywhere near your return section so you don't get any micro bubbles. But yeah, that's a good way to force oxygen into the tank, but you still need to have air. You still need to have water moving at the top to help release the CO2. Plumbing your skimmer outside is always a good idea. Open up a window, basic shit. My wife really wants a powder blue tang. Any suggestions on QTing this sensitive fish and increasing success rate? Buy the biggest one you can buy. When it comes to the powder blues and the powder browns, I find that if you buy a smaller one, like a 2-inch powder, whatever color, it's going to, the success rate is very slim in quarantine. I got blue here. The one I have from Scott from Rascal's Reef, big, fat, healthy, and happy. That joker had no problem going through quarantine. So the bigger the fish, usually the better you're going to be in quarantine. But understand, the bigger the fish you have, you better have a bigger tank. Less time you have with that fish, essentially. Moving down. What do you think about bleaching live rock that's been in the tank for 10 years? I think that's a horrible idea. I think you should take that rock and get rid of it. Buy new rock. Because you got to think every mistake you ever made, anytime you took a dump in the tank, all the shit that you did wrong in that tank that was 10 years old or the previous owner did, Maybe his wife got mad at him and dumped a whole bunch of Clorox bleach in there. Who knows? 10-year-old rock has a lot of mistakes and a lot of issues. And I would get rid of it and get new rock. That's what I was going to ask you, Tina, if it was the bird's nest that I sold you a long time ago. That's good. I'm glad it's growing for you. Moving down. Brief noob. My calcium and my mag are high, 550 and 1600, because I didn't calibrate my hydrometer. Yeah. Anyways, I've been doing 3-gallon auto water changes every day, trying to bring it down, but it's not coming down. Been 2 weeks now. Okay, yeah. Doing small water changes is not a way to get any of those parameters down. When it comes to magnesium, it's just going to take time. It's going to get used up in the tank. And luckily, it's not too high. You're not at like 2,000 ppm. Just do your regular water change. You got to think, because you're putting water in there that already has calcium and alkalinity and magnesium. So you're trying to remove it by adding it. It's a long process. It's not going to work. So what I would recommend is just let it naturally come down. 550, I mean, shit, man, mine could be at 550. I don't know. I don't even test calcium. I don't think you should even care about it. I think you should focus on your alkalinity to make sure it's good to go. And as long as you're dosing equal parts calcium and alkalinity, it's going to balance itself out. So keep an eye on your alkalinity. Who gives a shit about calcium? Your magnesium is at 1600, so your snails might become a little lethargic, but it's not a huge deal. As long as they're not dying and they're sticking to the glass and they're staying active, do that. If they're not, then you want to do bigger water changes, 30, 40, 50% if you can, depending on the tank. You don't want to cause too much stress. Getting in a lot more water at once allows you to remove more water that has a higher mag and calcium levels. So hopefully that answers your question. We got 40 minutes left. I think we did. What did we start at? Yeah, we started at 7. Moving down. Okay. Hey, Travis, my internet went out, and I didn't hear if you answered my Senai Reef monitor. And next question about the RX intensity. Okay. So the Senai Reef monitor, I'm trying to remember what your question was. Yes, you could use that. Use that to test your levels and all sorts of stuff like that. You want to stay around 250 to 350 when it comes to most corals. And I don't remember the second part of your question with the XR15s. I'm sorry. Feel free to add it again. And hopefully just say, hey, this is my question again, and then I'll try to answer it again. But I definitely did answer it, though. Have you ever had to deal with spaghetti worms? I can't get rid of them, and for the life of me. Yeah, I mean, I've had them before. The wrasses definitely take care of it. Not really much of a concern. They don't do anything. Never had them cause any issues or stress out any coral or anything like that. But get a wrasse. I mean, my Melanor's wrasse eat that shit all the time. A drink here. You guys just heard me swallow that Gatorade. It's attractive as shit. That is one of the things that annoys the crap out of me, hearing people chew or swallow. So I do it during my videos to see if anybody else gets creeped out by it. Moving down. What are the high-end acros you have stashed in your coral grow tank? You're gonna have to wait and see, buddy. Those videos are coming. You get no joy from your tank. That's sad. No, I'm kidding. I get joy from it. I enjoy what it looks like. I enjoy that I get to create content. I enjoy that process of it. But I don't get the same joy that a new reefer gets. I think that's with anything. You know, when you're in a relationship for 10, 15, 20 years, you know, you're smacking the same snatch every night. Yeah, you enjoy it, but you don't enjoy it as if it was a brand new one, right? So that's fucked up analogy, man. Anyway, yeah, I enjoy the reef tank. I just don't enjoy it as if it was, you know, fucking started the hobby yesterday kind of thing. Hopefully that answers your question without grossing you out. Moving down. What are your thoughts on Mars Aqualites? I have 2 on my 90-gallon softy tank. How far can I go with them? You can go as far as you want. I grew out SPS and Acropore with Mars Aqualites. They're fine. If that's your budget says you can have, then do it. You're not going to have any problems with it. You don't have to have the best of everything to be successful. As long as you have the brain and the ability to learn from your mistakes, you'll be fine with any type of equipment. Moving down. Ooh, not that far down. Jeez. How much do they pay for each test? Oh, is this a joke from earlier? Hopefully enough. Hopefully enough to pay for that whole system. They're big, though, so that I should at least get fucking time and a half on them or something. Moving down. Will a shrimp-only tank need a skimmer? I think any tank should have a skimmer. The process of skimming, you're trying to replicate the ocean. When the ocean has waves and they come up and they splash onto the onto the beach, that's skimming. That's basically the ocean skimmer. So try to replicate that with the fucking skimmer. So your best bet is to have one. And also it's gonna be good. You might have to we can cut down on your water changes. It's good to have. Good for pH. Okay, moving down. Someday I'm trying to find something that's appropriate. Because if you guys say inappropriate stuff, I feed off that. And I don't know why I'm telling you this, because that just means you jokers are going to do it. But if I see something inappropriate come through, I think about it, and then my brain's like, I'm not putting on the brakes for this one. Just fucking go off the cliff full speed. And that's what happens. You guys do it. It ain't me. Moving down. Kevin, hey Travis, I've had a 75-gallon up for a year, and I am seeing limited growth in my corals. The corals are zoanthids and five corals. What should I dose to help things along? Thinking about two-part. Okay, well, when it comes to dosing anything, do you need it? So do an ICP test, see what your elements are. Do you need a dose aminos? Do you need a dose boron or refuel, some shit like that? Do an ICP test and see where you're at. You might be missing something. There might be something that's missing in the water column that will come up on the ICP test. Now, when it comes to two-part, you only need that if you're not able to keep your alkalinity stable in between water changes. It's very simple. Do a water change, say on Sunday. Monday morning, test your alkalinity. Now, go ahead and then wait however long you wait for your water change, and then test your alkalinity again. If it say it went from 9 that Monday afterward, and then you tested it 2 weeks later and it's at 7, then yeah, you need to keep up with that, because that is going to limit your growth. And also that fluctuation is not good for the coral. So because you have zoanthids and fabies, I don't really think you're going to be using a lot of alkalinity. So I would say, keep up with your water changes. Increase them if you have to for a while, maybe so you don't have to dose two-part. And again, do the ICP test, see what you might be missing. Maybe your lights aren't good enough, as in you're not getting enough PAR. Maybe it's not a good enough spectrum, or you didn't say what kind of lights you were using. There's different factors, but tell you right now, fabians don't grow that fast. They don't. Some zoanthids, the higher end ones, excuse me, I'm fucking burping over here like an animal. They don't grow shit, but you get something like an Arctic ice zoa, that thing will have 1 million babies in a week, and you'd be like, shit, I should have put that on its own rock, and it will crawl up and start killing everything. But yeah, so it depends on the zoa. If you have high end zoas, those tend to, they're high end for a reason. They look cool and they don't grow very fast, so they're in high demand, making them higher end. So depending on what you have, could just be your type of corals. Go and throw some SPS in there if you're ready, and that shit grows quickly once you get your finger on it. Moving down. How did you decide upon your lighting photoperiod length? Well, I'm a big fan on a lot of light for a long period of time. Always like that. I always do that. I just get better growth that way. And honestly, I don't want the tanks off while I'm down here. If I'm working down here, which is pretty much all the time, the lights come on early, like 8 o'clock in the morning. They turn off at 10, 11 o'clock at night. And I'm down here throughout the day. I want to see the tanks while I'm down here. I don't want to look at, my inverts coming out doing stupid shit. I want to see a tank full of coral with light over it. So, yeah, most people, they adjust their photo period around when they're going to be home. There's no sense of having, if you work, night shift and you're sleeping all day, and why would you want your tank off the whole time when you're home? If you're up, whatever. So people even have it on opposite schedules as, people who work 9 to 5s. Just depends on when you're going to be home. Just make sure you're able to see the tank and enjoy it, since you're putting all that damn money into it. Hey, Travis, what rock do you recommend to purchase for a new tank setup for SPS and fish? Okay, just right now the only option we really have is the dry rock. That's decent. You can do man-made rock. I'm not a fan of it. Don't like that stuff. People in general have too many failure points. I don't need somebody finger blasting my rock. It's not porous enough. It looks ugly. It looks like giant turds. It just doesn't look cool. I don't like it. And who the hell buys purple rock? Already purple. Lazy much, bro? See how many dislikes coming from that. Seriously, just buy dry rock, cure it, and use it. Pukani if you can get it. But good luck. Moving down. Okay, my alkalinity is 10 all the time. I only have a bunch of small frags, and I do not dose anything. And I use Fritz Blue Box. Is it too high? No, it's fine. You're not dosing anything. That's what's coming out of the box. Leave it alone. You can't, the only way it's going to come down is if you are growing coral in the tank. It's not like you can do water changes to bring it down, because the water is already at that level. So yeah. What's your salinity? Are you at like maybe check, make sure your salinity isn't too high, because sometimes people get that messed up. They're rocking like 1.028, and they're like, man, I can't figure out why my alkalinity is so high. So just keep an eye on your salinity too. Make sure it's in the appropriate range. Moving down. Okay, hey, Fish Hex. Hope you're doing well, mate. What is your light setting? I have the same lights as you. Go to my 300-gallon playlist. Look underneath the PAR lighting setup video, and you'll be able to get the whole rundown on the Radions and everything for that. I was thinking about making a new video when I finished the lighting the other day on the Grow Out system, but since I already have it, I'm not a fan of making the same video over again. But you know what video I have to make over, though, is that 30 things I wish I knew as a beginner saltwater hobbyist. That gets a ton of views, and that's such a cringy video. It's so painful to watch. I tried it. I couldn't do it. Moving down. Smacking the same snatch. Oh, okay, great. Yeah, that's going to be a new shirt. No. Okay. Do you turn your dosing pumps off when you do water changes, or you don't stop dosing when you do water changes? Like, the only dosing pumps I have on this tank are for the NO3 and the PO4, and I don't mess with them. I just adjust them if I need to. Like, I'm probably going to have to go in there, make a few. I mean, they're going to have to feed a little bit more. I haven't been feeding that much for the tank because I've been so busy, but I'll probably have to make a little adjustment on my alkalinity. But yeah, no, I just leave them running. I mean, I'm assuming you're talking about my tank or just pumps in general. It shouldn't make a difference. I mean, if you're pumping anything with a dosing pump, it's probably not going to make a difference when it comes to doing water changes. Moving down. How do you grow Matapora cap to curl up like a rose? Just having the right amount of PAR on it and giving it plenty of room to grow. Once it starts hitting stuff, it gets really pissed off and does not rose the way I guess it doesn't grow like that, rosy style. Yeah, so just keep it away from things, give it enough PAR. Can you run a calcium reactor without an Apex? Yes, you can get a pH device. Actually, somebody sent one to me as a backup. You can get a standalone pH monitor, and you can put that in the calcium reactor, and it will turn on and off your CO2 regulator, which determines how much CO2 goes in the tank and keeps the pH stable, allowing you to use the reactor efficiently. But yeah, you can do it without an Apex. No problem, man. Just got to buy a piece of equipment to make it work. All right, just jump just like. Hello, that jump the dislikes, old snatch. Yeah, it'll happen, man. Sometimes I say things that are inappropriate. Go figure, huh? Yeah, no shit, dude. These things keep moving down. Jeff, I think I will glue the Matapora back up. I don't have a reef glue. Is it okay to use normal gel super glue? Yes, that is okay. My recommendation for you is to take the coral out of the tank, put the glue on it, and then when you put it back in the tank, make sure the glue is the last thing to go in the water. The reason why you want to do that is because, and go slow, because of course the salt water is going to add a little bit of a covering over the glue, and if you put the glue in first, sometimes it smears the glue up over onto the coral frag or onto your finger, and that's a huge mess. So just put the coral in head first, let the glue be the last thing to go into the water, and that will help out. I should put that in my tips and tricks of gluing a tank, or gluing corals. It's a pretty good idea. I almost came up with it myself. Moving down. What budget doser do you recommend, 2-part or individual BRS 101? Okay, so I know there's some new dosers coming out. Don't really know a lot about them. You guys can guarantee if there's a new product coming out, I don't know shit about it for a couple of reasons. 1, I don't care. 2, I don't care. And 3, I just don't fucking care. I don't. So moving on. Just get if you really want to go cheap, budget wise, you can get the Jabo doser that I just talked shit on a few minutes ago. It works, but don't bet your life on it. If you want something that actually works relatively well, get the dose from the for the Apex. Just Neptune, get it. It works well. Moving down. Oh yes, Scott is right. Dollar store super glue is good if you want to use it. Then if you're gluing as much as I am, you don't want to go that route. It costs you a ton of money. I get the big. I think it's like $30 on BRS for the glue I have. Yeah, if you're gluing a lot, you can use that. But if you're just doing here and there frags, you don't need to. Okay, what's up? Oh, that's Scott. Yeah, Scott's going to come back soon with a new tank soon. You know why? Because I said so. Okay, moving down. I'm dosing 2-par. At the moment, my calcium is turned off due to the constant readings of 525 from using the reef crystals. Should I still be dosing it? It will eventually level out. Yes, you should be dosing equal parts calcium and equal parts alkalinity every single time. It will balance itself out. I know that sometimes with bad salt, you can have an issue with it being bounced around. I'm telling you guys, I don't even look at calcium. I don't care about calcium. Alkalinity is the mother of all water parameters. You should really be focusing on alkalinity because it makes and breaks any tank. So, yeah, I mean, my calcium could probably be like freaking 8,000 right now. I don't care. As long as my alkalinity is good, which, by the way, it's not because I'm fucking around with it, but it's good enough. Moving down. Everything in my tank is growing great except for the hammers. What's the issue for those? They just don't grow fast, man. Hammers don't grow that fast. It's LPS. We're talking LPS. They're not fast. They just don't. I mean, I'm thinking SPS. I like coral that if you come down, like if I don't clean the 40 gallon the glass for a week, I come back and like, oh shit, look at that growth. That's the type of coral I like. But yeah, there's probably nothing wrong. If everything in the tank is doing well, and that's the only one that's not, don't make any changes. I said this before. Don't make changes to a whole tank to make one coral happy. You'll regret it when all the corals are unhappy. Oh, follow up. Reef Noob. Follow up. Regarding the high cal mag levels, I set up a auto water change. I'm guessing that's what that means. To do it slow. Should I set up a 510 water change because I can't do it 20, 30%? Yeah, I mean, you can. I know that you're trying to get those levels down. I would say don't worry about it. I mean, your magnesium is going to come down. You can increase the water changes you want if you want to spend the money, but since you can't do the big water changes like that, I'm guessing because you don't have the room or whatever reason. But yeah, just go slower. You can. It's eventually going to come down. Now, to prevent these issues in the future, I know that you had a dosing problem. I know that. But for those of you who are getting bad batches of salt, and you usually don't figure out it's bad until it's in the tank, is when you get a new box of salt, just test the salt. Make the water, take 5 minutes, and test the alkalinity, the calcium, and the magnesium. That's the best thing you can do with any new box of salt because it really tells you how the whole salt box is. Make sure you, of course, mix it up appropriately. If it comes in a bag, shake it around before you put it away. Make sure you're mixing your salt up, and then make the salt water, and then test it to see kind of where you're at. Moving down. How do I get better polyp extension? Well, flow is a pretty big factor. If you don't have enough flow, or at least enough of the correct flow, let me rephrase that. You can have too much flow that causes the polyps to suck in, especially an SPS tank. If it's getting blasted, the polyps aren't going to come out. In that case, you kind of want to direct the flow off maybe a back wall to allow a swirling effect. That's good. But either too much flow will cause an issue or not enough. Like in the 40, I just added that Nero 5. I didn't have a pump in there for a couple weeks, and everything was sucked up. It wasn't happy. I added that Nero 5 yesterday. Everything was sucked up when I first put it in there, and now we're, it's a day or so later. I don't know how, 2 days, 1 day? I don't fucking know. And it's fine. The polyps are out. Millies are good. Everything, the flow is pretty good in that tank. So too much flow, not enough flow. Also, if your alkalinity is bouncing around, it's going to cause issues with the polyp extension. I'm assuming we're talking SPS here. I scrolled all the way down. Moving down. Okay. Hex, can you get some of that deep red gorgonian from somewhere else? I could try to get it. I don't really, that stuff, I mean, I'll be honest with you, that stuff doesn't really make me any money. So at this point, there's no reason to get it in. I do, but I can get it in. I can put it through quarantine and then go through that process. But the reason why I like SPS is it grows really quickly. It quarantines relatively easily. There's really only a few major pests that as long as they're not in there during the quarantine time, you're gonna be fine. And stuff like gorgonians, hammers, and torches and stuff like that, yes, they're cool to have, and I will keep them in my grow out system, and they will grow out. But you don't want to buy a hammer from me that I've been growing out for 6 months because it's not going to be cheap. It's just not. And that it's just, you'd better off buying SPS because it grows so quickly. I can keep I can keep the price really low because it's profit at that point. It's not like I have to wholesale it or anything. But yeah, I could try to get some gorgonian in. All right, moving down. Hey, Travis, what do you recommend to use in between the skimmer chamber and other chambers? I've been using a pink filter. Okay, well, you can use that. Is there a reason why you want something between the chambers? Are you getting like micro bubbles? I'm assuming that's probably what it is. So yeah, any kind of, pink filter stuff, even just filter floss, that stuff would work fine, especially for micro bubbles. But understand that it does collect detritus and gunk and needs to be changed out frequently depending on if you're using mechanical filtration. If you're already using filter socks and stuff like that, even just adding a sponge, because I have a sponge between in the Geo sump between the skimmer section and the return section, just a regular black sponge. It's not like a fine, like you were trying to clean something sponge. It's just like kind of a porous one, but it does break up the micro bubbles if there were any to go over. Now, because I have filter socks, I don't have to worry about that sponge getting clogged. I do clean it once every couple months. I just take it out, run it under some water, put it in there. But yeah, so I would say yes, you could put pretty much anything in between there as long as you have mechanical filtration. If you don't, a little bit more porous, you're probably better off so you don't have to clean it so often or change it out. What's next question? What are your thoughts on having nitrates at 25 ppm and phosphates at 0.19? That's where mine are running. I think that's a bad idea. I think you're just asking for problems. I think you're asking for brown corals. I think you're asking for cyanobacteria, and I think it's just a mess. I think you're going to end up getting algae from that. So I would bring that down. I recommend 3 to 5 ppm of nitrates, which is pretty far off from where you're at now. Try to get at least under 10. I mean, you'll be better, a lot better off than you are now. And 0.07 to 0.15. So you're close on phosphates. I'd bring them down. For me, cyanobacteria usually kicks in around that 0.19 mark. So, just keep an eye on it. Moving down. Tim. All right, Tim B. Travis, I have a small zoa colony that suddenly has fern-like algae. I thought this said testicles. Oh, what time is it? Yeah, we got 20 minutes late. I'm fucking reading shit wrong already. I thought that some bitch said I have small zoa colonies that suddenly has fern-like algae testicles. Yep. Happy fucking Sunday. Growing all between the zoas. Any way to get rid of it without polytoxin zoas. Okay. So if they're like that, is it Bryopsis? I have to see what that looks like. It sounds like Bryopsis, which means that your magnesium should probably be increased a little bit. Tim, you could feel free to send me a picture at fishofhex@gmail.com, and I could tell you what it is right away and help you give you a better answer. Just put in the comments. Oh shit! Put in the subject, say follow up from live stream, so it doesn't get automatically put into my Q&A questions, so I don't hold it off for a week or two. Moving down. Philip, I've been running a canister on my 100-gallon for 2 years. I'm strongly considering a sump. What's your thoughts? I think you should get rid of the canister filter just because life gets a lot easier when you have a sump. You have more water volume, which equals stability. You have places to put equipment like heaters and stuff. You could take it out of your main display, put a skimmer in there, which is awesome. You don't have to have it hanging on the back of the tank, which avoids the overflow issue and power issue and water getting to the outlet and all sorts of shit that happens with skimmers that are on the back of tanks. And you get rid of the nitrate factor because most canister filters have media in them that collect detritus and shit, and it just pours back into the tank in the form of nitrates and phosphates. So, yeah, I think that's a good idea. Get a sump. Make sure this tank is drilled. Do not use a hang on the back overflow. If you're going to go sump, make sure the tank is drilled. If you don't want to drill your tank, it's too old or whatever reason, buy a tank that's drilled and rebuild the system. Moving down. Not that far down. Moving down. Hex. Did I just answer your question? Okay, I thought deja vu. When did you start saltwater? How long before you were successful corals? Did you kill some on the beginning? Okay, so I've been in the saltwater hobby for 5.5 years. My first tank was a 25-gallon. Didn't put any corals in it, just had fish. My next tank was a 55-gallon. I put corals in it. I was really into inverts at that point. I liked decorator crabs. I really like decorated crabs. I like how they put the polyps and shit on them. It's cool. Really into inverts at that point. And then I upgraded to the 125, and then that's when the coral situation started. And then I went to a second 125, and that's the one you guys see here on YouTube. You guys have never seen any tanks before that. I think I've done like some pictures of stuff before. But yeah, the 125 was the one you guys see on YouTube was my official being successful. So I would say a year in, almost said urine. Ugh. Okay, a year or so into the hobby, I was successful with corals, and then you guys saw that tank grow out. Yeah, so here we go with the 300. I tell people if you want to be successful in this hobby, it's very simple. Just learn as much as you can, but most importantly, learn from your mistakes. My chair is squeaking. I gotta get a new freaking chair. And then when you learn from your mistakes, of course, you're not going to make those again. And there's only a few major mistakes in this hobby that will set you back and ruin it for you. And most of us do them, and I'm guilty of all of them, and that's why I talk about them here on the channel. Just learn from your mistakes and keep trying to progress, and you will be successful. You can have a full tank full of SPS if you want that. This is just what I want. Not everybody wants this, but it just works for me. Oh, okay. Need to go. 2 a.m. here. Great Q&A. Thanks for checks. Hey, man. Thanks for being here. This is what, from 8:36? So, yeah, you're probably gone by now. Hey, thanks for being here. Let's go ahead and see down. Is it a good idea to mount a torch or Galaxia coral on the back glass? It would look cool, but I don't know how it would. I don't know if they would like being sideways. When it comes to the Galaxia, it's not going to be a problem. The hammer, the torch, probably won't like it. It might. It depends. But what you got to consider is, especially with the Galaxia, when it's growing on the back glass, you got to understand that the sweeper tentacle, so it's going to take over the glass. It will grow on the glass, and it'll take over the tank. Then you can't have anything within like 8 or 9 or whatever, 10 inches or whatever to that glass, because the sweeper tentacles that come off a Galaxia or whatever coral is disgusting. Or Galaxy, I don't know what I'm thinking of. Galaxia. Am I fucking on going on the website? I got it here somewhere because I'm getting my brain farting here. The one that I sell that people have put on the back glass is Galaxia. Okay, yeah. What the fuck am I doing here? Smoking weed or something? Yeah, I think maybe there's a typo or whatever. But yeah, that stuff, the sweeper tentacles on it will fuck up everything in your tank. So be careful. When it comes to the torch, I don't know. It might like it. Never thought about it. Probably, I don't know. I don't see any need to do it, but if you want to, do it up. How long will you keep salt water in a holding tank? As long as it's got movement with some kind of aeration with a pump or keeping it moving. As long as the tank is food grade and it's not going to leach anything into your water, then you can keep it in there as long as you want. Yeah. Move down. Ooh, shit. That's not what I wanted. Cute. I was where should you keep the Senai reef monitor? Okay. So yeah, the reef monitor, I keep it up on the shelf. I don't use it unless I'm doing par readings. I'd have no use for it being in the tank. It doesn't do anything for me other than keep par. I also have it attached to an old algae scraper, so it's like zip tied on there. And I just fucking, some guys, a drinking game. Every time Travis makes a sexual flub, take a drink. Yeah, don't do that. You'll fucking die. Anyways, yeah, so I just keep it on the shelf. I use it for when I do my readings, and then that's it. Make sure you guys are hitting the thumbs up button, por favor. And yeah. And if you want the settings on the XR15s, they're in the 300-gallon playlist underneath par and lighting is done or some shit like that. Moving down. Travis, I have 10 tangs in a 10-gallon nano. They don't seem happy. I pop and drop them all the same time. Yeah, you should find another YouTube channel to watch because that's not going to work out well, buddy. Yeah, good luck with that. What a douchebag. It's funny, though. He's probably the same guy who measures his dick from the balls down at the base of his balls. You're just that type of guy, huh? Moving down. Why not using an overflow box? What are you talking about? Glenn, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about. Sorry. Travis, ever think about some dragonface, pipefish, or in your frag tank? Yeah, I've had pipefish in my imported system before. They suck in through quarantine. They really do. They're super sensitive, and they do not like coming through quarantine. So they're cool if I can keep them alive. They don't. I don't know. Tangs are the best fish to have. Tangs. Well, okay. Tangs in the system I have now because I don't have pests in my tank. So, but if you're importing coral, man, that fucking thing just kicked on. I gotta turn that shit off. It's super loud. 1 second. My dehumidifier just kicked on, and it's loud as balls, man. So okay. So when it comes to pipefish and stuff like that, they're cool. They look cool. They don't do anything. That's about it. And to eat red bugs, you want to get wrasses. So as I was saying, if you have an imported system and you're importing coral, get wrasses and tangs. That's what you want. Pipefish, man, they're stupid. They look cool, but they're stupid. Moving down. I think I'm finally caught up. You guys are giving up on questions. 10 minutes. Oh, we got 10 minutes left. That's fine. He's definitely just from the base kind of guy. Yeah, what was that? Oh my God, I watched that South Park episode. I mean, if you guys got more questions, go ahead and bring them in. I'm going to ramble for a few minutes here. That South Park episode where the Randy was talking about when they were all measuring their dicks in school, and because there was a list of names and they thought it was because of their dick size the girls put up, and then there's going back and forth between Randy talking about all these different calculations, and you have to measure from the balls and all sorts of shit because it was a funny show. You guys got to watch South Park because that's basically where my humor comes from. Oh, okay, got more questions and get away from that. Anyways, 40-gallon Nuvo is 40-gallon Nuvo is the tank I own. Wondering what fish you would recommend getting first. Going for mixed reef, SPS reef. Okay. Always want a clownfish. Clownfish are cool. I would get it's a 40-gallon, so you could probably be what you like Flamingi tanks? They only get like 2 feet, so you're probably good for a while. You can get one of those. But no, seriously, clownfish are cool. Stay away from chromis or damsels. Those things are dumb. No tangs. I would not put a tang in a 40-gallon tank. I don't care who the hell says it. And I'm not officially part of the tang police. I just try not to piss off fish as much as I can. So gobies are cool. Blennies are cool. Let's see what else. What other little fish? I think it was a bit. I don't know. Like I said, I'm a tang guy, man. You can get a wrasse. Wrasses are cool. I really like wrasse. My Melanoris wrasse. Everyone gives me shit about my Melanoris wrasse being in a bare bottom tank. I'm like, listen, people, he's been in bare bottom his whole life. He's what, 4 years old, 5 years old, something like that. And speaking of old ass stuff in my tank, my brittle star, which I'll post a picture of it on Instagram after this. He's what, 4.5 years old, 5 years old. This brittle star is massive. He came out last night. He's like, yo, check out my long ass arm. So I took a picture of him. And then to think that my blue Lincoln starfish is what, 3 years old, something like that. Pretty cool thing. Moving down. Why we got off on late. Off topic. Moving down. My pipefish. How many tanks can you put in a 75-gallon tank? I don't know, like 75. You should honestly in a 75-gallon tank. I try to tell my clients this too. They just want tanks. Everybody wants a fucking tank. If you want tanks, get a 125, nothing smaller. That just if you're gonna keep a tank up for a while, most people who build tanks, for the exception of me, usually build them to have them up for a while because you don't plan on moving and you don't plan on doing anything. So for me, I'm always upgrading, so I tend to get a lot more fish than I usually should. But I usually get a bigger tank. But the problem with that is if you don't upgrade, you're going to run into problems. So a lot of people who have smaller tanks tend to buy tangs thinking that, oh shit, man, I'm going to upgrade to a 125 in 2 years. And then their wife starts sleeping with a neighbor, and then she fucking kicks you out of the house, or she leaves, and then you have to pay alimony or some bullshit. And then, you don't have enough money to upgrade. And then you got a freaking Bemmingi tank and a 40-gallon tank taking turds the size of a freaking chromis. And then, you just run into all sorts of issues. So best bet, if you're under 100 gallons, don't get a tang. Moving on. Went off on that one too. Okay. We got 8 minutes left. It's going to be a long 8 minutes, guys. I'm going to drag this shit out. Hit the thumbs up button. 200 and what? I see only 211. I don't know if that's right. 13 dislikes. Fuck you to all 13 of those guys. Probably. And you know what it is? I guarantee this. It's one joker that has like 10 accounts. Like, yo, fuck this guy, man. I'm going to make him think that everybody hates him. Bro, I know people hate me. I don't care. I didn't care ever. Why do you think I'm the way I am? Good luck. Moving down. Okay. I have one coal tang in my 26-gallon I can't catch transfer to 50-gallon breeder. Oh, that sucks, man. Why the hell do you have a coal tang in a 26-gallon tank? Hopefully that's a typo. That's crazy. Good luck. Pineapple sponges, like them? Question mark. Hate them? Question mark. Pineapple sponges are rampant through my tank. Excuse me, I'm swallowing this freaking Gatorade. It's not a problem. They're good. That means you have good. If you see sponges in your tank, that means you have good filtration, you have good water chemistry, and you have good system in general. So sponges are a good thing. You shouldn't never not want them there. They're filter feeders. They're good for the system. Yeah, they don't bother me. I actually took a picture of them. I did. I took some picture of a couple sponges the other day and put on Instagram next to the Zoas. Excuse me, burping. It's going down, going down. You guys are just a bunch of trolls. That's all that's left here is 163 fucking trolls. Some of the shit you guys say, man. Anyways, we got, I don't know, 6 minutes left. Does anybody got any other questions? Anything else you want to know? It doesn't have to be reef related. Nothing too personal. I don't measure from the base of my balls. Just want to clarify that. It's all shaft. And demonetize. I wasn't planning on monetizing this fucking video anyways. Anyways. Let's see here. Let's see if I can catch the one that I missed. I know I jumped over a whole bunch of them. If I knew you guys weren't going to talk anymore. Okay. Which of your acros would you recommend as a starter for a 75-gallon tank, 9 months old, besides a bird's nest that I bought from you? Okay. Well, if you're new to SPS, I would consider my beginner guide pack or my beginner pack. I say beginner guide. Jesus. On my beginner SPS pack, I have there's a whole list of corals that I add to that pack. I just went from I just added 2 different levels. I think a 10 and a 15 version. So, yeah. I mean, I don't really have specific names. You didn't really say what your experience level was, so I don't want to bombard you with too much information. Moving down here, 2.2 gallon quarantine tank be okay for corals if you can keep it stable. Moving around here, I'm gonna see if you could keep the tank stable. 2.5 gallons is not easy for stability wise. I mean, you can. I mean, if it's Zoas and shit like that, but I wouldn't be throwing no SPS in there. I mean, God, you can. No one's saying you can't. It just might be a pain in the ass. Does it count if you stretch the shaft before you measure? Yeah, it's fine. I do it all the time. You get like an extra 1/4 inch out of it. Duh. Of course it counts. The fuck you think this is? Moving down. Okay. Travis missed my answer. I have a 125 gallon 6 foot by 2 foot wide, 2.5 feet wide. I have 3 Hydra 64 HDs and 4 T5. Should I add another Hydra? Better spread? Yeah, I would do more. I'd do 4, at least 4 of them. That gives you even spread on there. It's good. I mean, shit, I don't know. You're growing in the tank. If you're gonna have SPS, you might even want to add 2 more. Yeah. Hey, now the questions are coming in. Was there a delay? Like a serious delay? Now I got to scroll all the way up. Hey, I'm just busting your balls on this, right? I know you're a big fan of the channel, so don't worry about it. I was just busting your balls. Yeah, simple thing is making doing the right research and make sure you're not putting too many fish in a small tank. I would say if you can, just remove everything from the tank, grab the fish. That way, it's easier that way. I said that way twice in one sentence because that makes a lot of fucking sense. Okay. How do you get rid of bristleworms or sponges with your quarantine procedure? Sponges isn't something you should be trying to get rid of. I don't see why you want to get rid of them. They're beneficial for the reef tank. The fact that you're keeping them alive is good. When it comes to bristleworms, you could throw for one, when you start your quarantine, you remove the plug. Bristleworms usually are on the plugs, stuff like that. But get a RAS. Put a RAS in your quarantine tank. I'm going to throw I'll probably throw another 6-line. I got a 6-line in the 40 gallon, but I'll probably put a 6-line and a tang. You guys are gonna be pissed about this. I would put a 6-line in the 30-gallon quarantine tank, and I'm also gonna put a baby yellow tang, just because I am gonna put it in the 300 afterward when it gets a little bit bigger, because I can, and the fact that I would really like a yellow tang again. I do have one in my 40 gallon, but I never see him because he's stupid and he doesn't want to come out. So, and I really miss the yellow tang in the big tank. So that's the plan. I'm probably not going to stick to it, but that's what I want to do. Moving up. We got 3 minutes left, guys. Never demonetize your shaft. What the fuck? Oh, Jesus. Okay. If you have a sand bed in your tank, how good are the chances of isolating bubble tip and anemones to their own island? There is no chance. Bubble tips will do whatever they want. You have to hope that they don't go sit on top of your corals. That's why they're not in the main display, and they're not in any tank that I plan on growing coral. SPS anyways. Oh. How do you add sponges to your tank? They just grow. I've never intentionally added a sponge ever. I don't know how you would add them. They just grow. Good water quality, they just naturally grow. I have one right now that's underneath the green bird's nest there in the middle right rock structure. That thing is freaking massive. It's the size of a baseball. And I've never put him in there. He's just kind of hanging out with all his buddies. Guys, we were running out of time. We got 2 minutes left. Here's a fun fact. Travis. I've thrown up 5 times during your stream. Thanks for helping distract from the hangover. No problem, man. I'm glad I can help you guys out. I think that's it, guys. I think if I say guys one more time, or if I keep talking, this shit's going to go downhill. So if you like the live stream and you like what I'm doing for the community, hit the thumbs up button. Feel free to come over and say hi in some of my other videos, become a member, whatever. You can do whatever you want. But if you appreciate the work I do, best thing you can do is leave a comment and say that you appreciate it, or hit the thumbs up button. That way I know you guys like what's going on. If you don't like it, just hit the thumbs down button like those other 13 assholes that came in here and did that. Or technically the one asshole that has 13 accounts. Man, it must suck being him. But anyway, yeah, so that's about it for this live stream. We're good. Still, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put a post up about midweek, probably Wednesday, and see if you guys actually want to do the live stream on Sunday. If I get enough yays to the nays, then I will have another live stream this Sunday, which I think is a Super Bowl, something like that. I don't watch that stuff. I don't watch any of that crap. So, yeah, don't know sports. Yeah, I was gonna go off on a tangent there, but I'm not, because we're done. That's it, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the live stream. Any questions, let me know, and I'll see you later. All right, peace.